South Africa is struggling to hold its head above water as the coronavirus pandemic continues to leave a trail of destruction in its wake. The National Treasury says millions of jobs are at risk and households are experiencing increased hardship. The country has to balance its health needs with the severe economic effects such as job losses, lower tax revenue and higher poverty. The economy was already struggling before the pandemic. It is now expected to contract by 7.2% this year, down from 0.9% growth forecasted in February. Finance Minister Tito Mboweni says this supplementary budget sets out a roadmap to stabilize debt, improve how government spends money, and grow the economy.
South African unemployment has also risen to around 30.1% in the first 3 months of this year. The South African economy is now expected to contract by 7.2% in 2020. This is the largest contraction in nearly 90 years.
Debt is another nightmare the country continues to deal with. Mboweni says at the end of this fiscal year, gross national debt will be close to 81.8% of GDP. He says in the next 3 years, compensation and debt service costs will be the largest expenditure items, outstripping the investments government makes in human capital, social and economic infrastructure, as well as service delivery. Government continues to spend far more than it collects in revenue, and public finances are dangerously overstretched. Mboweni says South Africa has accumulated far too much debt, and this downturn will add more to that growing number. The finance minister says government intends to borrow about $7 billion from international finance institutions to support its response to the pandemic.
So far, only the New Development Bank has decided to lend us $1 billion, which is equivalent to plus minus 18 billion rand, depending on the day. So that's a New Development Bank. The IMF and the National Treasury have been involved in quite a protracted negotiations process. That's where we are planning to source $4.2 billion.
The shrinking tax base brought about by the effects of the pandemic has led to a wider shortfall in revenue collection. Revenue collection for this financial year is now expected to be just over 304 billion rand, lower than the 2020 budget estimate. Gloria Sefakomosi, SABC News, Johannesburg.